Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. We're here for the Paper Talk this morning on Thursday, the 7th of May 2020, and we've got some big news today. Big but disappointing and upsetting and potentially season-changing news, and this is coming from the Mirror, that Manchester United have reportedly pulled out of a deal for Jadon Sancho this summer. I don't even want to say it. I don't even like thinking about it. It seemed so close. It seemed like it was going to happen. And of course, there is still a chance that it may happen. But there are a few more reports coming out now. United are changing their transfer policy. This is going to happen. This won't happen. He might be going to this club. Barcelona's interested. And now this is the biggest story yet from the Daily Mirror. So, maybe not the most reliable source, but certainly not the least reliable either. The Daily Mirror have certainly got good sources, and this is coming from their chief football writer as well. This isn't just some reporter. This isn't go out and come up with a story type journalist. This is their chief football reporter at the Daily Mirror saying that Man United put the brakes on a Jadon Sancho transfer due to coronavirus financial impact. The Borussia Dortmund and England attacker remains a key United target, but the Red Devils look likely to have to delay their move until 2021. No, I can't bear it. I can't bear it. Let me know in the comments what you think to this. If you're absolutely gutted. I personally am. Before we get into it too much, Adam Peters and Kane Marshall both have become members this morning. Thank you very much, lads. Congratulations. There is a Paddock members podcast going out this afternoon, so you're going to have that to look forward to. And there's another podcast in there as well for you to both check out already too. So thank you very much. If you want to join, click the join button and take it from there. But let's get back to the story today. This is from the Daily Mirror, like I said. Manchester United might have to wait another 12 months before signing number one target Jadon Sancho. Borussia Dortmund are under no financial pressure to sell Sancho this summer and will refuse to lower their asking price because of the financial impact of the coronavirus. United are huge admirers of the England star and have been working on a deal for months to the point that they believed it would definitely happen this summer, and we've seen those reports growing and sort of swelling in size and significance from starting off. We saw it in the likes of the Express and the Daily Mail, those kind of papers, and then it's slowly, bigger and bigger. We've seen Henry Winter, we've seen Fabrizio Romano, we've seen David Ornstein commenting on these reports. All the big players have been involved. We're definitely after Sancho. We're definitely interested in Sancho. I don't think there's any doubt about that anymore. It looked as though it was going to happen. It looked as though we were on the cusp, on the door, banging on the door to get him. But now, let's keep reading. United are huge admirers of the Jadon Sancho and have been working on a deal, like I said, for months, to the point that they believe that it would definitely happen this summer. However, United's executive vice chairman Ed Woodward has already warned publicly that huge transfers would be ignoring the realities that face the sport. Dortmund want in excess of £100 million for Sancho, who is regarded as one of Europe's top prospects. But United clearly have concerns about spending that level of money, not just from a financial point of view, but how it would be viewed by society. That side of things, I mean, haven't we already been desensitised and numbed to these ludicrous kind of 100 million isn't even money anymore, is it? That's like a whole town being rich for generations money. So I think we've already society has shaken its head and turned its nose up to transfer fees over the last few years, the last 20 years really. And I think, surely, I may be wrong, but I don't think a private business that football teams are. I know United's publicly traded, but it's still a privately owned business. Those sorts of players, those sorts of companies making big deals and stuff in a way that we've already seen. It's not like he's going to be 300 million, is it? It's going to be in line with deals we've seen before. I don't necessarily think there would be too much public backlash for that. Personally, I don't know. I think what could see backlash is teams playing and teams taking up resources that should be going to other services. I think that's one side where the Football League and the Premier League could get a lot of stick. But I think paying players and making these transfers that were already beyond ludicrous, I don't think would necessarily spark some societal outrage or some sort of football revolution necessarily. But again, this is what they're saying here. That has left Dortmund beginning to think that 20-year-old Sancho may yet stay for another year until 2021 and have already begun planning along those lines. Dortmund have made no secret that they will be ready to sell him in the future. I think we all know that at this point. and they have made a successful business model on buying young talent and then cashing in when the time is right. But they're also very happy for him to stay and would not suddenly begin to entertain lower bids, so it would be up to United to meet their price or potentially have to wait a year. See, here's what's going on with this article, isn't it? Let's keep reading, but we'll come back to that. It will be a big dilemma for Premier League clubs, as few are expecting to do big deals this summer, as they don't even know the full financial implications of coronavirus. United have earned huge praise for the way they've conducted themselves, helping the local community, supporting staff, and Captain Harry Maguire has been at the front line of the Players Together initiative. They've been acutely aware of this crisis, and some clubs are concerned about what sort of message it would send out to spend hundreds of millions, even if they have it. Now, the tweet that accompanied this article, let me get this up, because I think it's quite important to detail the sort of context behind this. What's the guy's name again? John Cross. I believe it was John Cross who tweeted this last night. John Cross of the Mirror, of course. He tweeted last night. May United remain in pole position, but may end up waiting a year. United have acted with class throughout these uncertain times, but no one knows the full financial impact of the crisis. There was another tweet that came from a different Mirror journalist last night that basically said United deal off for Jadon Sancho. It was in much more strong terms than that tweet. It was a different Mirror journalist, and it was in much stronger terms than that tweet. Obviously, it'd be good if I had that to hand, but I don't. But I'm not lying. It was more along the lines of United pull out of deal for Jadon Sancho. It was something that was almost that extreme, and obviously they have to sell papers, they have to get clicks, they have to get views on their website and that sort of thing. But as this article goes on, you slowly start to realise, and maybe this is me being optimistic, or maybe this is just me sort of seeing the lay of the land on this article. As you're reading this article, it goes from Red Devils look likely to have to delay their move until 2021. That is the byline, that is underneath the headline, right? United put brakes on Sancho transfer. Okay, well, that's pretty certain, isn't it? Slamming the brakes on stopping the car. It starts off with that, and as the article goes along, first of all, no sources, no quotes, no insider, no Daily Mirror understands. There is no even attempt at giving this news a source or a place in United or within Dortmund. In fairness, it does quote Ed Woodward, who last week said about these multi-100 million transfers made ignoring the reality of the sport. That is the one thing which you have to say, he did say that, and hopefully he was talking about Harry Kane, because that was around the time that United were being linked with a £200 million move for Harry Kane, but maybe he was talking about Sancho, fair enough. But then, after that, we get Dortmund want 100 million, okay? United clearly have concern about spending that level of money, not from a financial point of view, but how it would be viewed by society. I don't know where they've got that from. And it's left Dortmund beginning to think that he may stay for another year. Okay, so it's not United saying we aren't buying him. They haven't heard from anyone at United that is saying we can't afford Sancho, we're not going to do it. This is putting together a quote from Ed Woodward and left Dortmund thinking, which whatever that means. How do you know they're thinking that? There's no sources at Dortmund clearly think this. None of that. They've just left Dortmund thinking that, which backed up by no quotes or sources. They're also very happy for him to stay. I'm sure that's true. But the bit that gets me is this line here, where they say United. It's this line. They're very happy for him to stay and will not suddenly begin to entertain lower bids, so it would be up to United to meet their price or potentially have to wait a year. But isn't that the case anyway? That's always the case with any transfer. The paying team has to match the price that the selling team is willing to sell at. And that was the case before coronavirus, that would be the case afterwards, that is the case during. And I think obviously United may now think, oh, you know what, we don't want to spend 100 million. I don't think the societal thing is particularly, I've not really seen that across, Twitter seems to be the biggest hotbed for, political opinions and this way and that way's conversation type discourse about Premier League, about football, about the societal impact, about PPE, about how, us taking, I say us, the Premier League and footballers taking resources and tests and sort of thing. That seems to be the ground for these conversations to be had and these debates to be had. And even on Twitter, I've not seen much controversy about the idea of spending a lot of money on transfers, because that's sort of understood at this point. Playing through a pandemic at the expense of people more deserving of tests and more in need of tests, that's controversial, as it should be. But just paying the same amount of money as they always did, is that really that controversial? I just think they've sort of knitted together a lot based on not a lot there. And again, this may be wishful thinking from me, but there's part of me that thinks they've just sort of gone, well, United probably don't want to spend a lot. Ed Woodward did say that. Yeah, and Dortmund would be willing to keep him for a year. Right, write a story about that. And again, hopefully that is the case. Hopefully this deal could still go on. Okay, good. Ryan Jackson here. Stick to one story. 1 minute I'm hearing it's done. Next minute I'm hearing it's off. I'm not writing these stories. I'm reporting on the stories that are going around. And the thing is, we all have our own opinions on whether the deals will happen, whether they won't happen. But when a big publication, The Mirror, one of the top-selling newspapers in the country, comes out and says that the deal's off, we have to at least look at it on the channel. It's a big story surrounding the club that we follow, that we all love. I think we have a sort of a, not a duty obviously, because it's, we get to do what we want, but I think there's certainly good reason to report on these stories. And the paper talk and the news in the morning is a lot less personality and sort of opinion driven. Obviously we all put our opinion into things, than some of the podcasts or all that type of thing. We're just trying to give you the news that's going around, and I do try to give a little bit of insight if I can on how sort of these stories are written sometimes. And not that I'm particularly an expert, but you sort of get a view for the motives and the incentives behind certain things being written certain ways. Just a Newcastle fan crawling in. Don't mind me. We're going. Tompa there. Happy to have you, mate. We're going to be seeing a lot of that. 5 years from now, Newcastle fans coming in on chats, on Twitter things, best player. Look, who would they have? Mbappe, best player the Premier League's ever seen. He's won us 2 titles. We might see stuff like that. Oh God, Newcastle fans are going to be a new one that we have to all be annoyed by all the time. We liked it when you just didn't do anything. That was fine. We loved that. You had a few good players. We loved Nobby Solano. Ginola was good. We liked Gary Speed. But now they're going to be like, look at us, we've won some stuff again. Why, man? Joe, have you got the Lego Old Trafford? I haven't got the Lego Old Trafford because it's, 300 quid? I'm not the biggest fan of puzzles and Lego and that sort of take time to make something that looks like the picture on the box. I've never been particularly into that sort of stuff. And for 300 quid, I'm all right, thanks. Newcastle fans have arrived on the internet. They have! Newcastle fans have I don't know whether it's because they've finally got broadband in Newcastle or because of this takeover. That was a cheap joke. I apologise. That was low-hanging fruit. I apologise for that. Newcastle's a lovely city, actually. But yeah, Newcastle fans have finally arrived on football internet, haven't they? And they ain't going to be going anywhere as long as these owners are sticking about, I can tell you. Do we even know when the transfer window will be open? Not at the moment, no. I don't think they haven't announced a change. It's usually July the 12th, isn't it? Or is it June the 12th? But I don't think there's been any official announcement in terms of a change of that so far. I'm sure there will be. Keep Pogba. We should make Champions League. Sure. We've got a second story today. It's not just about Sancho. As much as, cheap shot. It was a cheap shot. I apologise. That's if the takeover happens. Exactly. You're sort of, Tomper in the comments, a Newcastle fan, is sort of testing out the lay of the land, checking out all the fan channels, having a look around, seeing just flexing his muscles a little bit in preparation for this takeover to happen. And when it does, it's going to be hell on earth. It's going to be absolutely hell on earth. Let's get into our second story for today then. This is looking at team bonding fines. This is looking at a story that came from The Times, and this is that United players will be fined for missing team bonding events under a new policy by Harry Maguire. Captain Harry Maguire, I'll have you know. Who, looking at most improved players this season, I would say Fred number 1, Rashford number 2, and I think Maguire pre-Christmas and Maguire post-Christmas would have to be number 3. I think he's been world class since Christmas. I think he was good before that, but I would say he's been arguably the best centre-back in the league since Christmas, and I'm including Van Dijk in that. Luke Shaw has revealed that Man United players are now fined if they don't turn up to team bonding events. It's a policy that Harry Maguire has brought in since he became captain in January, following the departure of Ashley Young to Inter Milan. Ashley Young? Who's that? Van Gaal. In the past, several players have skipped team bonding sessions. Last September, a handful of players missed a meal organised by David De Gea at Juan Mata's restaurant in Manchester. That makes me so sad. The 2 cutest players in the squad. Mata, imagine. Welcome. Where is? And they're not there. Where is? It just says that. Where is? Just says where is, because he can't even get the words out because he's so distraught. Where is? And all the best players aren't there. All his best mates haven't turned up because they're playing Ultimate Team at home. Maguire, who was one of the 3 players signed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last summer, has made it compulsory for squad members to attend such events in a bid to improve unity within the camp. Ole's signed people who aren't just good players, but also good lads as well. Shaw, the United left-back, said. They've integrated in the squad really well, and they've brought a bit more energy and togetherness in the group. That's particularly true of Harry. He's really trying to make sure we get more things done together as a group going forward. Youngie was brilliant, really tried his hardest, but sometimes it was difficult to get things done as a group. Now we've made a pact that whenever a team bonding thing happens, we all have to do it or we get fined. It's great for the team to be together and do things. And it seems like one of those things that, oh, why should we have to do that? Why should we have to fine? But I just think it's one of those things really where it's like, oh, can I get out of that? Oh, I will, but I'll get $5 grand if I do. Okay, I'll go. It's not like people hate it and it's like going to prison. You know, it's going out for a meal with your teammates. I think it's just one of those things where it's like, actually, let's make the players realise that this is serious, that we need this to happen. It's not like a yes or no RSVP thing. This is a club event. This is a work obligation pretty much. And if you don't come, you're getting fined. I think it's great. I think it's good as well that we see Maguire there sort of flexing his muscles a little bit as captain, and I think those are the sort of things that give a captain respect within a dressing room. The fact that it's clear that he's got some sort of authority, and obviously this will have had to have gone through the club and through the managers and stuff. But I like to think that, you know, Maguire's showing there that he's got some leadership, and he takes it upon himself to improve the things that a captain can improve. Obviously on the pitch is the most important thing, but what can help on the pitch relations is off the pitch relations. You know, I've played in football teams, I'll admit, not quite the same level as Manchester United, but in any team, in any group, in any social group, in any workplace, you'll all have seen it at your own workplaces, there are certain groups of people that gravitate together. And what can happen is, when you're in a work environment, those people, let's say you work at a call centre, and you have to transfer people. Oh, I'm going to transfer him to my mate so he can get the commission, or I'm going to give this person the job because I want my mate to have some time off so you can do the work. So obviously, in a football team and in a team as highly tuned and finely tuned as Manchester United, I'm sure there's less of that. But we saw it with England through the mid 2000s. These little groups, these cliques, these friendship groups, and sort of people who didn't get on with each other outside of those groups led to a team that didn't have great, team spirit, didn't have great cohesion on or off the pitch. And I think anything that we can do to make these players like each other as much as possible and get on with each other and enjoy each other socially, it won't hurt on the pitch, will it? And it may well help, so why not? What does everyone think to that? Harry Maguire being a little bit more of a captain, I suppose. And sometimes you think there's always a chance as well that someone has told him to do this, or that someone else did this and credited him so he looks good in the press. But you know what? I don't even mind that. I don't mind, because again, what does this story do? It makes the team, if it's true, it makes the team probably get on better. It makes Maguire look good to the rest of the team. It makes Maguire look good to the fans as well. So we all think of him as, bloody hell, he's been a bit of a captain, isn't he? We've missed this. And whether it was his idea or not, and I'm not saying I have any reason to believe that it wasn't, but even if it isn't, it makes us rally around this group of lads. It makes us rally around Harry Maguire as a captain, and I just think it's a good thing. Someone says, bit of luck and we'll snag the treble, lads. Maybe not this season, but this season's looking less and less likely, isn't it? Although actually, we've seen the news yesterday, it's not United news, the Bundesliga will be coming back in the second half of this month. That was signed off by Angela Merkel over in Germany. So it looks as though some of the other top leagues in Europe are on the way back. But then again, Germany's got a much healthier relationship with coronavirus, that doesn't really, not a healthy relationship, but they've dealt with it much better than we have. They are struggling much less than we are. And even in recent weeks when they've tried to soften social distancing measures slightly, they've seen a big increase. Still not to the point where we're at. But I wonder, you can't just, Germany have done it, so we'll do it. They're in a much better position than we are. So maybe we can't do it. Craig Turner says, think you should recap. I will do a quick recap because it's a big story today. Quickly before we go, let's get this back up for one moment. And this is our main story today, coming from the Daily Mirror. Man United have put the brakes on Jadon Sancho transfer due to coronavirus financial impact. The Borussia Dortmund and England attacker remains a key transfer target for United, but the Red Devils look likely to have to delay their move until 2021. Again, the main story here is that coming from quotes in recent days from Ed Woodward about United having to look at the realities of football in terms of huge multi-100 million pound transfers, that again, Daily Mirror making the connection here that maybe Manchester United have pulled out of a deal for Jadon Sancho. Obviously, we're going to keep you up to date with any updates that happen. And hopefully, this is a little bit of, let's go with a story that they're not going to get him. We've done enough stories that they're going to get him. And, we're the Daily Mirror. We'll put up a story. Woodward said this. They're willing to keep him for another year. There's your story. Send it out. So hopefully, it's a bit of A plus B equals D on this sort of stuff rather than actually knowing anything. There was no sources mentioned. There was no insider kind of we understands mentioned. It was all a little bit, this is public knowledge, this is public knowledge. Stick it together. So again, it's like I said, it's a bit kind of quick maths by the Mirror there. So hopefully this one isn't true. But again, you've got to report it. Someone doing a dab emoji. Lovely. Someone doing an elbow bump emoji. Very nice. One of the main reasons Barca was successful in history is that the members were friends on and off the pitch. We need to emulate something of the sorts as we aren't emulating the spending. I think, we're looking at the Harry Maguire story, of course, there. I think having teammates that like each other is just a good thing, isn't it? And speaking of teammates that like each other, we've got a podcast coming out this afternoon. That's going to be hosted by young Stephen Howson, coming at 4 o'clock today, so make sure you check that out. And to all the members as well, there's also a members podcast coming out this evening, so check that out. And for the Legend tier members, if you're watching this, we are doing Pro Clubs, and I've sent a message to all the Legend tier members on Xbox, and Alex should be doing the same on PlayStation as well. So if you're watching and you're a Legend tier member and you want to play Pro Clubs tonight, drop me a message. I've sent you my details, so don't you worry about that. Hope you all have a great day, everyone. Look at that little Joe emoji there. Lovely. Right, hope you have a very good day. Like I said, we're back at 4 o'clock for a podcast. It's Thursday, everyone. Hope everyone did well in their weekend league rewards today. I'm just going to be checking mine in a minute. And we'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.